back to part 2 of our TOS Enterprise build. This segment we're going to be talking a lot about lighting. With that we're going to talk about light blocking, light reflecting, the Raytheon effect or lighting through the plastic, wiring, and other things that go along with that. So stay tuned and we'll get right to it. Alright, first off we're going to talk about LED placement, where we're going to put the LEDs in our model, what color we're going to use, and the resistors we're going to use. So first, let's take a look at the instructions for the model. Now you can see here I've written down some of what colors I'm going to use and the LEDs for the colors. Now like on the saucer section here, I've got like 2 white LEDs I'm going to use, but I also made a notation that I might be using 4 of them. I'm going to use a red one to light up the impulse engines. Same way up here, maybe using 4, but I've got 2 for right now. We look on the back side here, and I've got blue LEDs in the back to light up the back of the warp nacelle. I've got some white LEDs from the main hall here, and I've got a special multicolor LED system I'm going to be using for the Bassard collectors. So with that said, you know, this is going to be our plan, and it's always a good idea to have an idea of what you want to put in it, what colors you want here and there, what you want to light up and whatnot. So with this is our plan for right now. Now, you might be wondering, well, I don't know what resistors to use for the LEDs. Okay, not a problem. I'll put up the resistor formula for LEDs, and here it is. Now with that, you can go through that equation and be alright, but there's other things out there to do that. Put a website down here that is a LED calculator. You put in your information for your LED. You know, if it's a 20 milliamp, you're using a 12 volt system, things like that. How many LEDs you're using, what the LED, if it's like a white LED, it might be a 3.2 voltage drop on that. So you'll put those numbers in and it'll come up with your resistor. Also, with today's smartphone age, there's an app I like to use, and I'll put that also on the bottom here, that I use personally, and I like it. It's a free app if you got the Android store. I'm not sure if it's on the Apple store. I'm pretty sure it is. But if you do some hunting around, I'm sure you can find a free app or whatever on your smartphone. So you just put in your numbers for your LEDs, and most of the information will be on your LED when you buy them. Either at the electronics store, or if you get them offline, or wherever you get them. Make sure you got that information, you know, how many milliamps it uses and what its voltage drop off is. Either, you know, most white ones are like a 3.2, 3.1, somewhere in there. Red ones can be like 1.8, things of that nature. So always make sure you have that information. Also knowing what power supply you're going to be using. On this build here, we're going to be using a 12 volt system. Most of my builds I always use AC 12 volt system. Now with this, you know, you could use a 9 volt. It'll just change what resistors you're using. So the numbers you see on my plans might not be the same numbers you're using. You know, because if you're using a 9 volt system or whatever power supply you are using, you'll have to use the correct resistors to your LEDs for that. So with that all said, this is our plan. This is what, the LED setup is going to be like. So that's that. All right, now we're going to talk about blacking out the model, or light blocking it. Now, as you see here, I've already glued like this piece on and made my channel like we talked about in the last video, where I can run my wires. I drilled a hole where I can put my wires through. But what you're going to do here, why you want to do this, is if you look here, and it's always nice to have a tester light. If you don't have a little LED light or a tester light, you can always go to Walmart and buy like a little pin light. They're a couple bucks, but something that you can, real easy to have, shine your light, and it'll act as a tester if you're going to get any light bleed. Now, if you see here, we're getting light bleed. The light's shining right through the plastic, so we need to find a way to not let that happen. So the easiest way of doing this is painting the model black. Now, most of the time you can get away with painting just the inside, but on this one particular, the plastic was real thin. I was having a really hard time getting the light not to bleed through, so I ended up painting the outside of it as well. And what I use personally is some Crayon plastic paint. It's made specifically for plastic. It works real well. Use this stuff for just painting the light block my parts. As you see, I've done these. But we'll get into say you want to do what's called the Raytheon effect on some things, in which all that is shining light through the plastic on places you want lit up. As you see here, I've painted this all black, but I've left this part white. And you're probably wondering why I did that. I'll show you here real quick. Put that sticker decal back on it, like so. Now say I wanted to make this look like there was a little spotlight here on the outside lighting the registration numbers up. Well, if you look here, by just not painting that, I've got where it kind of looks like as a spotlight effect. So if you wanted to do something like that on your model, you'd have that option. Also, on this model, it's got like little white lights out here, depending on what version you do, and you're able to light them up. You don't have to cut out a hole or anything. Real easy to do. Just mark where you want it, put a little piece of tape on there, and voila, you can light it up. Now, obviously before you do that, we'll want to tape off, there's a registration or the little Star Trek emblem here, and you can put a little piece of tape there. You notice it's kind of a teardrop shape, so it looks like a spotlight. So you paint this all black, and then when you're done, you peel up the tape, put a LED in there, and it looks like kind of like a spotlight effect. Like you've got light shining through on the outside, but it's on the inside. So, that gives you a little bit of option. Now, on this particular build, I won't be doing this. I'm going to paint this all black. I'm not going to have any of that. But I wanted to give you guys an idea, and maybe you want to do this on your model. Also, like with the back, there's little registration marks. Maybe you wanted to make it look like there was light shining out here on the sides. It just gives you guys out there an option, if you wanted to do that. Some people do. Same way with the warp nacelles. This inner piece here, I've seen people light up. Now, I'm not doing it on this one, but I am going to do it on the back here. As you see, I'm going to have this lit up blue. And if you notice, I've light blocked the back piece. I'm going to paint this a really light white and put a blue LED in here, so when it's off, it'll just be kind of a lightish color. And then you know, this lightish white, and then when I turn it on, it'll shine blue. So, but if you wanted to, you could make these side pieces here light blue. I've seen that done. It looks really neat. And you know, same thing. What you'd have to do, you'd have to, you know, do what we did on the hull. Take out these pieces, grind that all out, tape off this inside channel, and then paint the, you know, this whole inside black. And then after you're done, peel up that part. So, and then put some maybe LED tape or something in there, or maybe a couple LEDs. Light that up blue. You could probably get away with 2 LEDs, putting one here and one here for the 2 different sections. Then with the outside, you would tape off just that center little piece that's raised up. That's a darker gray than the model, and you, let's see here, yeah. And if you ended up having to paint the outside, you know, tape, you don't want this inner side piece to be blocked off, so you'd have to tape that up and then paint over that, peel the tape up, and then make sure you paint these inner pieces here black so the light doesn't shine through that, and then you know, paint it gray, and then you'll end up having this nice blue haze around these 2 pieces here, and it'll look really good. I might do one of these later on. I've got the big 18-inch model I really wanted to do that with, so. But that's another idea for you folks. Like I said, I'm opting out of this option with this one, where I'm just going to leave them non-lit up, I guess. So, now, since we got through all that, we're going to get on to light reflecting. Now, you'll end up with some parts that you can't get an LED into, but you need light to be shined up in there. So, with that, we're going to use aluminum foil. Like this neck piece is a perfect example of that. It's so small when you get both halves put together that there's just no way to get an LED up in there. So what we'll end up doing is we'll put an LED right here at the bottom and right here in the top. We've already got aluminum foil on this side, and we'll put some aluminum foil over here. And with that, it'll bounce the light back and forth and shine up that whole area real nice. We also have got it here on the saucer section as well. And you notice it'll bounce light around, light up out here on the ends for those windows. I may put a little bit of aluminum foil in here, or maybe I may put it all in here. I'm not sure yet. I'll have to play around with it and see how it lights up. Also with the top, doing the same thing. Got some some aluminum foil here, so when I put LEDs in it, it'll bounce that light all around. So you're bouncing it from the bottom and from the top, and it'll light up everywhere. So it just adds a little bit of extra ability to light some areas that you may not be able to get an LED out to the end. You know, you think about it, there's not much space to put an LED out here, so you may have to rely on bouncing the light over to it. I think we'll be alright doing it this way. But it's a real easy thing to do. Aluminum foil, it's easy to cut. You can put it anywhere. And what you'll end up doing is just gluing this right down to the model, laying it out flat, and it'll look real nice. So that's the thing here. And you notice I got some blue tape on here. I'm gonna have to paint black over this little clear part, because if you notice on the model, part of this dome piece is, you know, the whatever color, outside color you're going to use. So, but only the little tip here is lit up. So what we're going to have to do is paint this whole thing up here black, so we get that, so we don't get any light shining through, and we just get through on the top. So that'll be, so that's what we're doing for our light reflecting and things like that. And you may end up wanting to put maybe a little bit of aluminum foil in there. You can also, you know, wherever you put your LED in here, you might put a little bit of silver paint you know, like some silver chrome paint, right here on the edges, or maybe in some other spots where you just need a lighter color or something to reflect that light just a little bit to light up what, you know, get that light where you want it to go. So now, I know you've seen on my instructions there, I had a multicolored LED. And because for the most part, on the LEDs, it's going to be real simple. They're single colors. But for our Bassard collector, I'm doing something a little bit special for that. I've got a setup here where it's 2 red LEDs and 2 yellow ones. Most of the LEDs I'll be using are clear. You can't really tell what color they are. But on this one, you can tell these are red and these are yellow. Now, with this, I've made my own chipboard that'll make these flash. You know, the yellow ones will flash super fast and the red ones will flash a little bit slower. It'll give this illusion that it's kind of spinning. Now I'll show you what this looks like, and as you see, it looks really nice. I like the look of it. Now, you know, this is a beginner's model. Maybe you don't have the skills to build a little board and do something like this. There is another option out there. They make a what is called a RDB or RGB LED. It's a red, blue, green LED, and it flashes on its own. Now, you can do the same thing here where I've used a piece of styrene, which you can get this at like Hobby Town or anywhere that sells model stuff for like a railroad things. A lot of guys that do railroad stuff, you know, they use this. But you just cut out a little circle, drill holes like you would for your windows, so you can put your LEDs down in there. But they make, you know, those multicolored LEDs, and they flash on their own. So you put resistors to each one of them, and so they'll flash independently, and this is what that looks like, and I think it looks really nice. And as you see, that's got a really neat effect to it, and I really thought about doing this. I really like that. If I had a little more space on this here, I would have put one of them right in the middle of this, and so I'd get that kind of multicolored look, and I thought that would be really neat. But fortunately, I didn't have the space, and I'm going to stick with this. This was an idea I've had for a little while, something I've wanted to play around with on my own. And you know what? If you can't find those LEDs, those multicolored LEDs, not a problem. A single red one, doing the same thing here, getting a little piece of styrene, you can put a single red LED in there, it'll look great. You know, you gotta think, if this is the first time you're doing this, you know, you don't have to do anything elaborate. When you get this all lit up and done, you're gonna be really happy with yourself. So, and it's gonna be fun. You're gonna look at that and be like, wow, I can't wait to do the next one. So, don't, you know, if it doesn't look quite accurate or whatnot, don't feel bad. Like I said, this is, you know, you're beginning to learn. That's what this is all about. But if you want to, maybe you've done these before and you're looking at another idea, this might be something, or those multicolored ones. So in the next video, we're going to discuss things like using a breadboard to check your LEDs, securing your LEDs in your model, wiring and soldering, and things of that nature. So, until next time, keep having fun, keep modeling, and Enterprise, one to beam up.